Before I make this video, I want to address a few things. A few of you guys said that my video was all over the place. That's because when I made that video, I didn't have a lot of time to prepare as I usually do. I basically had to go to work soon. I had to basically rush things, so my bad. I also definitely jumped the gun on certain things, and you guys have pointed out things that I basically overlooked. You guys also said that this game could also take place in a challenging timeline, and have pointed out things that suggest this game could also take place after Zero 2. I also didn't expect this video to be as big as it did. I only expected at least 100 people to watch the video, not over 1,000. So thanks of all you who watch the video. It does really mean a lot to me. So in this video, I'm going to pinpoint and to try to figure out where Breath of the Wild takes place in the Zero timeline, and back it up with the evidence as I found to support this. Be warned, as this video does contain more spoilers about Breath of the Wild, so leave now if you want to remain unspoiled. Come back when you've beaten the game. But anyway, guys, let's get started on this. So first things first, I want to clarify that this game 100% doesn't take place in the challenging time for obvious reasons. For starters, Zelda does have the Triforce on her hand, meaning that she has the Triforce of Wisdom. In Twilight Princess, Zelda gives Midna the Triforce of Wisdom so that she can exist in the world of light. And in the end of the game, she turns to the world of Twilight and severs the connection of the world in Twilight, taking the Triforce of Wisdom with her. Now in the downfall time, Ganon does get all three pieces of the Triforce, so you could use that as an argument against this. But in the challenging timeline, Ganon is sealed in Four Swords Adventures, effectively sealing him, and said that Ganon in Breath of the Wild has been reborn. Again, you can make the argument that the shield of the Four Sword has weakened over the time, in fair point. However, where you get the Master Sword in the game, and the Great Dick Tree is there along with the Korok, the descendant of the Kokiri. And the Great Dick Tree and the Kokiri or Korok aren't anywhere in the challenging timeline. And in the first dungeon, Twilight Princess greatly resembles the Great Dick Tree, meaning that it has to have died in this timeline. Another key point in the game is that the ink has been rejuvenated in the game. Now, the only way this could have happened is if Link died in protecting Hyrule in Ocarina of Time, which supports this timeline, and basically supports that this game takes place in the Downfall timeline. So this effectively basically confirms that this game takes place in the Downfall timeline, because challenging timeline, as pointed out has a lot of glaring issues, and adulting timeline, well, you all know how that story turns out. Another thing you guys point out is that the ink that we play as in Breath of the Wild isn't the hero of time. And seeing in the more games, you guys are right, and this could take place after Zero 2. Now, there's one key piece of evidence that proves otherwise, and that is that the tribes are present in Breath of the Wild and are not present in Hyrule in any other game after Link to the Past. However, the Goron and the River Zord, aka the Good Zord, the ones that don't attack you, appear in the timeline in Oracle of Ages and Seasons. But they don't appear in Hyrule for obvious reasons, because even though they could have easily done this and Link Between Worlds, that wouldn't make sense because it's a sequel to Link to the Past, and they didn't have Gorons or the Good Zoras, and Link Between Worlds was a prequel to the original Legend of Zelda, which also didn't have them, and would have caused a confusion in the fan base. Only the River Zora, the ones that attack you and are ugly, are the only ones that appear in Hyrule or in Link to the Past, meaning the only times the tribes could have existed in the Downfall time is in the beginning of timeline, after Ocarina of Time, and before Link to the Past. Now, you guys clearly pointed out the champions aren't the same as the Seven Sages, in that they are completely different. However, this isn't the first time the sages' names have been changed. In the original Link to the Past for the NES, the sages were called the Wise Men, and that would make a bit sense, but change the name after 20 years would actually be so weird. Okay, so there are 4 sages in the game, but what about the other theme? So, in every iteration of the 7 sages, Emperor has definitely been a sage, so that counts as 1, and she is present in the game. And Zelda and Ocarina of Time was also a sage, so it's not entirely out of the question that Zelda could be a sage. In the last part, the sage could be a Kokiri, or a Korok, and every time they have appeared in the game, they have always been a sage. So, oh yeah, that basically could sort of proves my theory. And also, this isn't the first time all 7 stages has been in the game. In Link, in The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, we only see 2 of the 7 stages, not all, not the other 5. So where are the other ones? There's no sign of any of them in the game. So that's actually sort of weird. So like I said before, this isn't the first time this has happened. There's also an interview with the creator E.J. Aranua about Breath of the Wild. And in that interview, someone, I forgot where it was, but someone asked if this game takes place after Ocarina of Time, and E.J. Aranuma says yes. However, he didn't specify if this game takes place directly after Ocarina of Time. Because literally, there's a time where we don't of the Sealed Wars, and we really don't know what happened in that game. And another big mystery of this game is Calamity Ganon. Now, in every iteration of Legend of Zelda, Ganon has been reborn as a pig or revived as a pig. Hell, even in Four Swords Adventure, he was reincarnated as a gigantic man pig. And it says that Calamity Ganon was being reborn again and again as a being of pure hatred. So, the question is, how did Calamity Ganon actually become Calamity Ganon, not just regular Ganon? It is sort of weird because it's very out of the blue. However, what if by touching the full Triforce, Ganon was effectively transformed into this Calamity Ganon, and that the people of Hyrule managed to somehow defeat him, and Zelda was managed to rejuvenate Link and after the events of Ocarina of Time. But however, Ganon kept on coming back, getting stronger than ever, and people of Hyrule barely being able to defeat them. So as a result, the people of Hyrule built these machines and to protect them whenever Ganon came. However, in Breath of the Wild, Ganon almost won, and he put Hyrule in ruin. And so it makes sense that if they want to prevent these events from happening ever again, they need to do something different, aka sealing him in the sacred realm. Now, in the downfall timeline, Hyrule is basically destroyed, and it looks like it's being rebuilt from something. And in that cutscene I showed in Breath of the Wild, it looks like Hyrule was basically a thriving civilization. With a town built around Hyrule Castle. Sound familiar? It's that same town from Ocarina of Time. In all of Hyrule, there are only a few towns, so it does make sense that Hyrule would be rebuilding after a calamity like Calamity Ganon, and that Zelda would try and get all the people unified again. So yes, I do believe that Breath of the Wild takes place after Ocarina of Time for obvious reasons, and because of the examples I pointed out, I believe this game strongly takes place after Ocarina of Time and before A Link to the Past. So let me know what you guys think. Do you believe, with all this evidence, that this game is sort of a sequel to Ocarina of Time? Tell me what you think down in the comments below. I'm the Gaming King, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.